So welcome everyone to Meditation Mount on an amazing day in spring. It's wonderful to have us all here together because this is more than just listening to music or words together. We're going to participate in a gathering. We're going to gather together and we're going to receive new inspiration, and then we're going to do something about it because this is springtime and hope springs eternal. So one of the things that you'll notice if you've been to the Mount recently is we repainted. 2 days ago we finished repainting. So instead of the brown paint, we've got the dark blue and gold, which are the colors of the Mount. And then we've got these wonderful sun-dried tomato red doors, which I love. And the reason I mention that is because it's a time of beautification. I find the greatest antidote to chaos is beauty. When times of chaos, create beauty, because you are creating on earth a correspondence to the harmony of the spheres. If you look up into the skylight there, you'll see this 5-petaled flower. That is the actual symbol, the sacred geometry that's created in the heavens when Earth and Venus dance around the sun together 8 times. It actually creates a 5-petaled flower, for real. And what we have to do is reproduce that on earth, that beauty, because it's in the heavens. It's all about harmony. So today we're going to be sowing seeds of peace. Now, where do these seeds come from? I'd like to say that each of us has a seed of peace inside of us. It's safeguarded and carried in the heart. So the first thing we have to do in order to sow these seeds is open the heart. That's where we keep the seeds. It's a very special time for us. Yesterday was our 54th birthday at Meditation Mount. April the 11th, 1971, we opened to the public. And so today is a birthday weekend, and it happens to fall precisely today on the exact time of the full moon, which is at 5:22 p.m., which is the Aries Festival. And Aries is the first in the new cycle of the zodiac. And Aries is a fire sign. And it's all about bringing in the fiery seeds of the future into the now, being receptive. So the idea today is we're going to create a receptive field to receive those seeds together, because something new needs to be planted. In nature, I have a background as a gardener, you always have the breaking down and the emergence happening simultaneously, what I call composition and decomposition. These two are neighbors, they're friends, they're allies in the garden. So when we look around, we see a lot of things breaking down in society. I love the sound effects. Yes. That's the time to plant the seeds. Because we're not here to survive, we're here to create something new together. So part of what we do here at Meditation Mount is to use the power of group thought and the power of the group heart to create, if you like, the architecture, the spiritual architecture of a new world, a preferred future. It's just like creating a digital image. But instead of a computer-generated image, we use the higher mental. We create in our mind the architecture of the new, and then we clothe it with emotional substance, mental substance, and then that becomes, if you like, a magnetic seed. And those magnetic seeds we send out into the ethers. And then they land and they find the right soil, they germinate, and something new happens. So our task here, I believe now, is to precipitate the future into the present, using the compost of the old, the past. So a couple of things I'd like to say about the spring. I think all of us who live here in Ojai know that spring is here because you just go out and smell the orange blossom. It's begun in the last few days. There's this coming up from the valley here. And then there's a hint of jasmine here because we have jasmine. And the ginkgo tree outside is beginning to leaf. So, and the birds, we had the red-shouldered hawk, the red-tailed hawk circling and, you know, as pairs doing their courtship dance. And there's this time of renewal, revival. And spring is a time of hope. So this is not hope as some sort of wishful thinking. This is hope as a fact. Because inside the seed, as a gardener, I know if I've got a carrot seed, I know for sure inside that carrot seed is the archetypal imprint of a carrot. And when I plant it, a carrot's going to come out. I believe the seeds that we carry in our heart carry the imprint of a more just and joyful society. So we're going to be talking about peace. And we've got Mandy Kahn, who will be presenting peace. We had Shelley Burgon, who's going to be creating an atmosphere of peace, a resonant field. We've got Diana Lang, who's going to lead us through the exact time full moon meditation, abbreviated version. And we've got Jeremy Turner, who is going to bring the sound of the cello for us to deepen our relationship. When I think of peace, I think of a state of consciousness where I have a deeper sense of meaning and belonging. I know that I fit in here. I'm part of this ecosystem. I belong here, and I have a function. I'd like to tie it very briefly back to Meditation Mountain, the work that we do here. We work with 3 principles, and I'm going to name them, and then I'm going to explain what they really mean. The first principle is called essential divinity. The second is goodwill. The third is unanimity. I believe they are integral to building a society that is peaceful, a peaceful world. Essential divinity says that each one of us carries within us a spark of the Creator. Each one of us is sacred, and we need to honor and celebrate each of us. All life is sacred. The second principle of goodwill said that love is the lifeblood and the currency of all relationship. It's the glue that holds everything together. And the third principle is called unanimity, which means we're part of one seamless web of life. And when you get that, there's no way you can harm anything. So we believe that these 3 principles that we work with here, if we bake them into the foundation, they become, if you like, the ethical bedrock upon which we can build something new. So that's just by way of helping you understand why we felt it was important to celebrate this with an event called Sowing Seeds of Peace. It's a real thing, and we're going to be opening ourselves to receiving these seeds of the new, and then we're going to assimilate them together. And we have the gifts of the people here who, Shelley is going to play the harp, and Jeremy the cello, and Mandy, I call her the peace messenger. And then Diana is going to bring through the energies that are present now in the constellation of Aries. That's part 1. So you each have received one of these. And it's not like a concert program. Oh, right, now they're going to do this, now this is going to... No, this is just the run of show. We're the show. So this is not a spectator sport today. We're all in this together to build something new. So we start off here for the first part. Then we have a very brief break. Then we walk down into the International Garden of Peace, and we're going to unveil the new peace pole. And then we're going to do a ceremony there to honor the souls of all nations. And there'll be some music down there as well, and some more words. If you've walked around, you've noticed there's a pretty badly charred peace pole around the corner here. That's courtesy of the Thomas Fire. In fact, the signage on it, the plastic signage on the peace pole, was originally buckled in the 1999 fire, for those of you remember that time many years ago. And then you've got a plastic peace pole that's fried next to it. So what we did a few years ago is we had a ceremony to bring this peace pole in. This one isn't going to be planted outside. We use this in this room. So we felt we needed to have, in the International Garden of Peace, a peace pole. And so that's what we've got. And so we'll be going down and unveiling it and having this celebration of all the souls of all the nations and asking and affirming, may peace prevail on earth. So that's really what we're doing here together. And I'll say a few more words later, but that's enough. So what happens now? What happens now? What happens now? No, what happens now is that Shelley is going to create, if you like, a resonant field, because it's all about coming into resonant relationship with ourselves, with each other, and this multidimensional ecosystem. So through the harp, we're going to come into, if you like, resonant relationship. And then when that is finished, Mandy will come and deliver a peace message. And then we'll go on to the meditation, and then we'll have some more music, and then we'll move on down. So it'll be a flow. So thank you all for coming. It's wonderful to have us all here together. So, and by the way, my name is Michael. If I get lost, it doesn't say please return to Meditation Mount, but that's the spirit of it. So thank you, and I invite Shelley now to bring us into resonance, please.
Some of us are members of a peace bridge generation. That means that we were born into a world of exclusion, of harsh judgment, of continual belligerence, of cruelty. We were born into that kind of world, but we would like to die in a world of inclusion, a world of honoring, a world of perpetual peace, a world in which everyone feels there is a place for them, a world in which everyone's needs are met, a world in which everyone feels able to step into full selfhood and glorious self-expression, a world of freedom, a world in which kindness does not need to be enforced because it is always chosen. Some of us want to die in that kind of world, even though we were born in another kind. And so to make that transition, we will have to do something very different with our attention, with our intention, with our lives, than what is generally being practiced by those around us. What is generally practiced right now will build more of what we are generally experiencing right now. To experience something new, we must act differently first. If we want to help bridge these worlds, we will have to seed the peaceful world within the judgmental one. We will have to use our position within the human collective to create new possibilities in the human collective. And many of us are here to do just that. To be a peace bridge, one must focus on the peaceful world that one wants and be unafraid to act in a way that builds that which is loving, even when we are surrounded by those who are acting in very differently than how we choose to act. Those who bridge may feel very strange in their surroundings. But though bridging is a challenge, it can always be done. You can begin your life in the era of belligerence, and you can end your life having seeded the age of peace. That is possible if you simply act in the ways that build a truly peaceful world, even before that world exists, and long before most others are doing as you are doing. But if you can do that, if you can walk a less trodden and perhaps less understood path, you can do anything. And you are alive because you came here to do something important and valuable with your time on earth. Some of you will choose to do this building of a peaceful world with your time here. You can extend compassion even as others are in a festival of rejection. You can do that, and you can know that you are doing that for the benefit of everyone. And you can endure others not understanding your loving action. You can do that because you are equipped to do it. What does the seeding of a more loving world within a belligerent world look like in practical terms? It looks like day after day choosing to hold compassion for those you are taught to reject. It is choosing compassion even when compassion is an unpopular and misunderstood choice, even when it is a loathed choice. One cannot build a loving world with less than loving means. One cannot build a peaceful world with cruelty, even with cruelty towards those who have been cruel. If one is born into a world in which cruelty is common, one must begin something new. To seed love, to seed compassion, to model a way of being that is not widely visible, not widely practiced. One must be new to build the new. One who is new is often misunderstood, but one who changes the world with their presence might have the chance to live into the experience of being understood eventually. Some who bridge the old world and the new world will have the pleasure of eventually feeling understood. This pleasure might follow years of feeling misunderstood. That is part and parcel of being truly new. Being new takes strength, takes vision, and takes a certain degree of feeling odd. But if one can live through the discomfort of being odd, one might live into the pleasure of seeing one's efforts make a loving and peaceful way of being easier for those who come after to choose. When we seed a peaceful way of being, when we choose compassion, even when we are expected to be cruel, the peace we experience and the peace we create will model the new for others, perhaps a new that no one ever modeled for us. Some of us will find we have to go first, and first is not easy. But no one came to walk this path without the necessary inner resources. If you feel called to this path, the strength required to walk it will arrive as it is needed. When we are compassionate, when we see others through loving eyes, when we carry forgiveness, it feels good because it always feels good to be ourselves. And these actions are an expression of our most essential nature. It may feel hard to be misunderstood by others, but that difficulty will be counterbalanced by how good it feels to act in ways that are peaceful, because acting in peace will feel so right to us. If you choose to focus on how it feels to walk in peace, rather than on how others are acting, you will be continually replenished as you walk this path. And your modeling of peaceful action will do more to alter the actions of others than enforcing a change on them could ever do. Your opportunity is to choose your own actions and to model your actions for others. Focusing on your own peaceful actions and how it feels to carry them out will ferry you from these times which may feel challenging, to times in which you have the great joy of walking through a peaceful world that your clarity, your strength, and your efforts gloriously helped to build for you and for everyone. There is a difference between ending all existing skirmishes and building a peaceful world. Ending all skirmishes brings us to the ceasefire position in the era of belligerence. It ends all fighting for now. But a ceasefire is a kind of season. Like spring, it does not stay. Spring is always followed by summer. Likewise, as long as humanity is within the era of belligerence, a ceasefire will always be followed by fighting. We are within the era of belligerence because the outside world, the experienced world, mirrors back to us what is inside of us, and what is inside of us, when it takes physical form, often looks like belligerence. We will not step from this cycle fully until what is in us, what we hold, is more loving and more peaceful than it is now. Only by peacening the self, and thereby the collective, can we step from the era of belligerence and into a new set of possibilities. Peacening the self is the only doorway to true and lasting peace, to both personal peace and to world peace. What is the relationship then between personal peace, inner peace, and world peace? Inner peace is world peace that one person experiences first. Inner peace is world peace happening locally. Inner peace is world peace that one person has just grown in the garden of themselves. Inner peace is world peace. We call peace world peace when enough people are experiencing individualized peace and flowing it into the collective consciousness that the peace experience becomes the commonplace experience in a society. But before profound peace is the most commonplace experience, it's an unusual or a notable individual experience. We call this inner peace because we are not yet in a world in which profound peace permeates everyone's experience all the time. We can see the contrast between the inner peace we are feeling and the lack of peace that many others are feeling. For now, inner peace is still a notable and somewhat unusual experience for most people. I say still because experienced peace will be the baseline experience for all beings eventually. But for those of us who were born into the era of belligerence, an experience of inner peace will most likely be something we must cultivate, something that we move into and out of over the course of a day, a week, or a year. When many have built their own peacefulness, collective peace will begin to manifest. First, it will be experienced by small pockets of humanity. Then it will spread outwards into the surrounding areas. Imagine being in a swimming pool and adding a dropper full of food coloring to the water. The water will reflect that new color most strongly where the food coloring has been placed, though eventually the food coloring will be incorporated more widely into the water in the pool. It will spread. First, though, it will make itself powerfully apparent locally. Peace works this way. One person in an experience of peace flows that peace into the collective consciousness, and it enters the collective at the precise point where that person is placed. Their peace begins to peace in collective consciousness locally first. Then it is spread more widely, but it can be felt most potently locally, as that's where it is most concentrated. World peace begins as inner peace experienced by one person or by a group of people that eventually spreads. World peace is a result, not a cause. It will come last. Eventually, experienced peace will be standard or commonplace, and then individuals will be able to build upon that standard foundation of peace. When there is standard peace, what will we see? Flowing creativity, self-actualization, new collaboration, new forms of art, new inventions. We'll call them acts of genius. That's what's waiting for us when we arrive at what we now call world peace. We think of world peace as the end of all war. Well, in that state of generalized inner peace, war will not begin. So generalized peace will look like the absence of war to those who lived prior in the era of belligerence. But to those who were born into the age of peace, it will look like flowing creativity, invention, collaboration, art making, inspiration, ideas. It won't look like the end of war because war will sound so peculiar, like such a strange thing to choose, that war will simply seem like a historical curiosity. We will look at war as a marker of a particular and very strange time in human history. From a peaceful mindset, we will not judge ourselves or past humans for what they did not yet understand. We will have compassion for ourselves and for past humans. But knowing more, we will not choose that which does not serve us again. War is a marker of a time in our development. It is an indicator as to where we are in our evolution. The lower mind wants to know the answer to this question: is war bad or is war good? The higher mind is so loving, so peaceful, that it does not judge. It simply says, war indicates a society that is very early in its development. We will know that we have evolved. We will know that we carry more peace when we do not choose war, when we find that we as individuals simply would never choose to harm another person. We will know that we have evolved when we look at the practice of harming another and find it puzzling. We will think, why would anyone do that? It simply won't make sense. We look at a loving world, a world in which there are no skirmishes between individuals, a world in which there is no violence, and we call what we see world peace. And to us that means the end of all war. But it won't feel like the age of no war, except to those who began their lives in the era of belligerence. It will feel like the age of inspiration, the age of creativity, the age of invention, the age of innovation. It will be the age of feeling just right, the age of so much to get out of bed to experience. It will be the age of what can I build next? When we are in the age of peace, we will see it for what it is, not for what it isn't, not for the contrast to what came before. Only by living in peace will we truly understand its nature. We'll notice how good it feels to express ourselves, to be creative, to be full of innovative ideas. We'll notice how good our own kindness feels towards ourselves and towards others. And the idea of not feeling these things will seem strange to us. We will think, what would possess anyone to treat another with cruelty when expressing kindness feels so good? Those who feel called to build inner peace, even as they live in the era of belligerence, are getting a preview of coming attractions. They're getting a taste of what will one day be standard. But they're also seeding a world in which one doesn't need to cultivate inner peace because it is standard. One only needs to choose what to focus into being by way of one's already peaceful, already connected self. For that reason, the age of peace will also be the age of choice. Everyone will have the freedom to concentrate on what they enjoy doing rather than spending their primary energy creating safety and making sure their basic needs are met. Some of us who live in the era of belligerence already carry the perspective that will be commonplace in the age of peace. Such people might look around at their society and think, how do I get out of here? One gets out of here by building the future from where they are seated in the present. One builds the age of peace by building inner peace. One builds peace for themselves in whatever increments they can, and is grateful for whatever slivers of peace they can experience. One lingers in appreciation of peace whenever it arrives. One revels in the feeling of peace and thinks about what one loves about peace and speaks of the joys of peace and does what brings one peace. That's how one builds the age of peace before it is here. That's how one gifts the age of peace to everyone.
Thank you, Mandy. So this is the time of spring, the time of sowing seeds, seeds of peace. And the name of the Aries Festival, which we're in now, the full moon time, is also called the Festival of Resurrection. Resurrection shows up in many of the faiths and religions around the world because it is a natural occurrence. Resurrection is the natural process of regeneration of form. Forms are temporal. Anything that's born dies. So the way that we hold it here is that the spirit is eternal. And in order to express itself, express its fullness, it needs to continuously refine the forms of its expression. Therefore, it needs to die to the old of itself and be born to the new of itself. So once again, death and life walk hand in hand. Appearance, disappearance, reappearance, disappearance, appearance, disappearance, reappearance. And often we identify with the forms, and we tend to go down with the ship. If we can find a place inside of us of that inner peace, where we know that every time a form is needed to be composted, it will enrich the soil in which the new will grow. I know that as a gardener. So let us dare to die to the old and be born to the new. So I'm going to invite Jeremy to create a tonescape to lead us into the meditation that Diana will take us through. So once again, rather than just listening with the ears, listen with the ears of the heart and be moved into a space where we can receive these seeds together. So after Jeremy's finished, Diana will take us through a full moon meditation, which is happening right now.
So we've been set up in this powerful way. I've never stood and given a meditation before, so it'll be different for me. So we're going to go into that deep space. And I'm going to start by just saying, and sort of say it with me, within yourself. Peace. Om. Peace. Om. Peace. Om. And we just carry this frequency now as you start to step into the meditation space, developing peace within yourself. Letting the heart open and feel this community of conscious souls that are here. All this awareness, all this light, in the name of peace. Om. And you start to feel within yourself that place of peace within your own body, that my body is peace. Peace in my body. Om. Peace in my body. Om. So my hands are peace, my eyes are peace, my heart is peace, my legs are peace, my feet are peace, my mind is peace. I claim this peace now. Om. Peace in my body. Remembering peace begins with us. Peace begins with me. Peace begins with me. And sense that heart connection between everyone here, this community of conscious souls, in this space, in this moment, becoming present to the moment, which is simply peace. This moment now, now, now. This moment now. This moment now. And as you sense this quality of the state of peace, you can imagine taking this out into the world, to work, into traffic, into your life, into your home, into yourself, and how you speak to yourself. Peace begins with me. Om. I am grounded. I am grounded in peace. And it is easy to ground here at Meditation Mount. So sense your energy connecting to the earth, through your spine, right into the ground. Grounded in peace. So I'm going to use a different meditation today than usual that I've been working with recently, that I really like to take you deeper and deeper and deeper. So I'm going to say these words in a row that are archetypes of earth. Star. Sky. Earth. Ocean. Land. Mountain. Tree. All beings. self, soul, Om. And letting this take you into that inner space for a few minutes, into the deep silence where peace abides, where peace abides. I am peace. I am living peace. I am grounded in peace. And just say these things within yourself as declarations that become part of you forevermore. Peace in my body. Peace in my heart. Peace in my mind. Peace in my life. Peace in the world. Feel this radiance of peace shining out from this top of the mountain, going out into the world. And we'll end with 3 ohms. And I want to do it like this. Peace, like we started. Peace, when you're ready. Peace, Peace. peace. Thank you. It's the next exact time, world service, peace meditation. Perfect. Thank you.
So let's maintain that living silence, that living space. Now's the time to open the heart and take out your seeds. This is springtime. We're going to plant. We're going to plant the seeds of our sovereign self in the world. That sovereign self is joy, is peace, is light, is love. These are not just fantasies. These are the promises that can only be fulfilled, just like the seed. What's inside the seed can only be shown by being sown and grown. The truth of who we are, the beauty of who we are, the gift of who we are, will only show up in the Garden of Gaia when we plant ourselves, when we dare to show up in the world. So I invite us now, as Shelley brings us into another place of resonance, to reflect on what are the seeds that I choose to sow right now in my life that will make a difference to me, my family, my community, to the world. Peace starts with me. Shelley. I can feel those seeds quickening. So we're going to take a deep breath now. And this is the completion of the first part of our time together. And then we're going to take a few minutes to walk down to the Garden of Peace. There are chairs down there. There are backjacks down there. There's grass if you want to sit on the grass. And we're going to unveil the peace pole. We're going to invoke the souls of all the nations and ask that they work for peace. And we're going to join together in the celebration of the human spirit through music. And we're going to send out blessings. The Chumash say that blessings move from east to west. We're at the east end of the Ojai Valley. We're going to send out blessings from the east to the west, and then it goes all around the planet and comes back and touches us. So now's the time for you just to stretch, do whatever you need to do, and then, without undue delay, to move down the path here, and we will gather down on the grassy area and continue our celebration together. Thank you for part one, and thank you for Diana and Shelley and Jeremy. Oh. Yeah. Part two awaits us. So welcome to part two. And others may be joining us. So let's start by saying, the Peace Pole, where did it come from? What is this movement called the Peace Pole Project? It started in Japan. There was a particular group in Japan with a teacher called Masahisa Goi, who in 1976 had this vision, had this sense in a meditation that he should start a project and put around the world all these peace poles with "May Peace Prevail on Earth" in different languages. I see it like an acupuncture needle in the earth. And it's the spirit of peace. It's "May Peace Prevail on Earth." On January the 24th, 2009, we inaugurated this International Garden of Peace. And there were about 70 of us in a circle, and we called in the spirit of peace. So the spirit of peace lives in this garden. It lives in our hearts as well. So the peace pole came from Japan, and there are thousands and thousands around the world. And it's a reminder about peace. May peace prevail on earth. So what we are doing today is to unveil a new peace pole. As you saw, that the other ones were destroyed in the fire. And in a moment, Diana and I will unveil it, because we both have sort of on the board of Meditation Mount, so this is like we're doing an official, it's not a ribbon cutting, I don't like cutting things, we're just going to pull the bow open. The beauty of this is that the International Garden of Peace is dedicated to exactly what Diana was talking about in the meditation and Mandy was talking about. It's the cultivation of inner peace. Inner peace is our natural state when all the other distortions fall away. It's said that at the center of everything, the Greeks had this trinity of truth, goodness, and beauty. And when you live in truth, goodness, and beauty, you are living in peace. After we've unveiled the peace pole, we're going to be moving into a flag ceremony. And I'll just explain, because you'll be participating, so you know what's happening. There are 193 flags of the countries in the world around the peace pole. Each nation, like each person, we believe, has a soul. And the soul has not got a political agenda. The soul is the soul, and it's seeking to guide and govern its personality, which is the nation. And so what we're going to be doing is calling on the souls of all the nations to come and be infused with the spirit of peace, so that peace may prevail on earth. This is a ceremony that they generated and created in Japan, and we're using a modified version because it takes about 2 hours otherwise to walk around with the flags of every nation. We've created this, if you like, lotus flower of our one humanity around the peace pole. And Diana and Mandy, in a moment, after we've had some music from Jeremy to bring us into this space, we will be naming each country. And there'll probably be about 7 or 8 seconds between the names of the countries. And in that time, if you can imagine the soul being present, because we're calling in the souls. And one of the founders of Meditation Mount, the inspiration behind the whole movement that we're part of, was an Italian psychologist called Dr. Roberto Assagioli. And he had a vision of the synthesis of nations. His whole work was about synthesis. He created a psychology called psychosynthesis. And he saw that we are all petals on this one flower. And that eventually, as Mandy was saying, eventually when we come home, we're going to realize our oneness. This is the principle of unanimity. Once we realize that we're all sacred, we're all fractals of the one life, and that love lives at the heart of everything, then it's a no-brainer. So we'll do the flag ceremony. We'll call in by region, like Europe, Africa, the Middle East. And we'll call them in, and then we'll have an invocation in between the groupings. And as we're naming them, if you can imagine the presence of that nation here, not the current political state, but the cultural gift that that nation brings. Just as each one of us has a soul quality that we're bringing, and yet at the moment it doesn't always show up because our personality hasn't been finely tuned to play that song. So this is what we're going to be doing after we've done the unveiling, and after Jeremy has led us into, if you like, a tone setting. And then after that, Mandy will say some words poetically. And then we will close with a very, very brief prayer together. And then those who wish can remain, and we can watch the sunset together. So, Diana, let's unveil our new peace pole. So let's once again enter into this field of resonance that Jeremy will be creating, and then we'll go straight into the flag ceremony. As I say, when we name the countries, visualize the soul of that country coming with all its beauty. Yeah, the question was, do we want more cello? I always want more cello. It's like more cowbell. For me, the cello is the closest to human emotions. It's like the oboe and the cello. We've reached the point now where we're going to call in. Let us invoke the souls of all the nations of the world that represent our multiformity, our splendid union of the one humanity.
Western Europe, Andorra, Austria. Belgium. Denmark. Finland. France. Germany. Greece. Iceland. Ireland. Italy. Liechtenstein. Luxembourg. Malta. Monaco. The Netherlands. Norway. Portugal. San Marino. Spain. Sweden. Switzerland. The United Kingdom. The Vatican. Eastern Europe. Albania. Belarus. Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bulgaria. Croatia. The Czech Republic. Estonia. Hungary. Kosovo. Latvia. Lithuania. Moldova. Montenegro. North Macedonia. Poland. Romania. Russia. Serbia. Slovakia. Slovenia. Ukraine.
May the Spirit of Peace overlight and bless the souls of all these nations, so peace may prevail on earth.
the Middle East, Bahrain, Cyprus, Iran, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Oman, Palestine, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, Yemen, Central Asia, Afghanistan, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Georgia, India, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Mongolia, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Tajikistan, Tibet, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan,
May the spirit of peace overlight and bless these nations, so peace may prevail on earth.
East Asia. Brunei Darussalam. Cambodia. China, Indonesia, Japan, North Korea, South Korea, Laos, Malaysia, Maldives, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore, Taiwan, Thailand, Timor-Leste, Vietnam, Oceania, Australia, Fiji, Kiribati, the Marshall Islands, Micronesia, Nauru, New Zealand, Palau, Papua New Guinea, Samoa, the Solomon Islands, Tonga, Tuvalu, Vanuatu,
May the Spirit of Peace overlight and bless the souls of these nations, so peace may prevail on earth.
North Africa, Algeria, Chad, Djibouti, Egypt, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, South Sudan, Sudan, Tunisia, East and South Africa, Angola, Botswana, the Comoros, Eswatini, Kenya, Lesotho, Madagascar, Malawi, Mauritius, Mozambique, Namibia, Seychelles, Somalia, South Africa, Tanzania, Zambia, Zimbabwe,
May the spirit of peace overlight and bless the souls of these nations, so peace may prevail on earth.
West and Central Africa, Benin, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cameroon, Cape Verde, the Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the Republic of the Congo, the Ivory Coast, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, the Gambia, Ghana, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Nigeria, Rwanda, Sao Tome e Principe, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Togo, Uganda.
May the spirit of peace overlight and bless the souls of these nations, so peace may prevail on earth.
South America, Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Guyana, Paraguay, Peru, Suriname, Uruguay, Venezuela, North and Central America, Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Canada, Costa Rica, Cuba, Dominica, the Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Grenada, Guatemala, Haiti, Honduras, Jamaica, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, the United States, and all indigenous nations. And all the other religions of the world. May peace prevail on earth.
So we've called in the souls of the nations. This is the synthesis of our humanity. Let us take a moment to appreciate the gift, the many gifts that each nation brings, each indigenous culture brings, and the earth itself, what it brings, the forests, the mountains, the oceans. And as we call forth the souls of these nations, we realize that we are traveling on a planet that itself is traveling through space. We're part of the spiral arm, the Milky Way of a galaxy. We're part of a great mystery. And I invite us now, as Jeremy plays something that is a celebration of the human spirit. And let us imagine the nations coming together, a peaceful world. It's a fact, but it can only be shown by being sown and grown.
It's by way of meditation that I most completely am able to witness peace. And by way of meditation that I've come to deeply understand the presences within peace. What are the presences in peace? Well, compassion for all beings is there. Love for all beings, love without end is there. Love of the earth is there. Oneness with all beings is there to be discovered in peace. So I'm going to share one poem. This is a poem about meditation, which is really how it all started for me. This is called During Meditation. During meditation, I listen to the sound that's always ringing, the high bells of creation. When I asked my mother what that sound was, I'd listen as a small child in my bedroom. She told me there was nothing. I begged she listen with me, and we listened. I heard the air was tolling like a gold bell. She told me there was nothing. Now I spend my mornings hearing carefully all aspects of that pealing. It takes all time to make. On its low end buzzing of a lit world, a kind of bare wire hanging. The electric shock that is. Higher, a kind of holy ringing. Higher crystal singing. The song that water makes in air. Mist that climbs the waterfalls high cresting. And billows colors. A mist that alters. I listen to that sound and it grows bigger. What undergirds us becomes a river. Gonging, dinging, chiming, and the friction of all things rubbed together. It's this that loops the weather. Most days it is too quiet to measure. Some days it's an ether for the taker. Its high provides forever. Thank you.
So the sun is setting. It's the close of another day. And hopefully we've opened up our packet of seeds, chosen which ones to sow this year for the benefit of all. And so let us close with, if you like, a request from life, a request of life. May the spirit of peace live in our heart and come alive as a force for good in the world. Thank you, everyone, for coming today and being part of this ceremony, this celebration. And if you wish to stay for a few more minutes and witness the sun sink over the Nordhoff Mountains, you're very welcome. But anyway, may peace prevail on earth. And thank you, and welcome back to the Mount anytime you need to recharge your batteries. Thank you.